So I always hear about this topic a lot, and I always wondered, is it a real thing? Does it actually exist? Does lighter man skill a real thing in MMA? I think it kind of is, but at the same time, I feel like it's not as concrete as you guys think when it comes with certain examples. However, though, does it play a big factor? I do kind of agree. So I'll be using my own examples and fighters examples as well. So for me, I kind of believe in it because you ever been playing around with your little brother or sibling in general, and you have everything against them. You have the reach, you have the power, you have pretty much everything to mog them, but they have one thing that you don't have, which is speed. They have a bunch of stamina, and speed is a big factor when it comes to landing punches, and they can land way more punches than you, but you have the defining factor of skill and power, which negates their speed pretty much their whole skill at that point. Like, you ever seen that one meme with not meme, but like the video with like the rabbit and that one lady keeper where like she picked up one of the rabbits and then the other one is throwing like a bunch of punches, but it doesn't really matter because they have no power. It's like they're super fast, but since they don't have the pop to get respect, they're kind of cooked, you know? Like, they have nothing but speed. However, though, imagine that with skill and half your size. It is kind of rough because that is a way more dangerous matchup because they have speed and they're also way more skilled than you. So it's kind of a tough thing to deal with. So yeah, lighter man skill is a big factor in MMA in my opinion, and I'm going to explain why. Because have you ever seen when fighters go up a weight class, especially the ones that were like mid, not that great at the weight class, or they're just not like at the top level, they end up either being really top level or a really good mid-card type fighter or like a decently sized guy outside the rankings. Like, they're almost never trash almost, unless you're Damon Jackson against Jim Miller. Then lighter man skill doesn't really work for you then. Just because, and also freaking Nelson versus Terrence McKinney. Look, lighter man skill is a real thing, but it's not going to help you with everything. Just because you're trash in one weight class doesn't mean you're going to do well in the next. So there is certain extent. Like, you probably will win your first fight and then you'll lose the rest. But Damon Jackson and Nelson are not part of the example because they are both just trash. But since we're on the topic of lighter man skill not working, there has been a lot of examples where it didn't work out. Like, the most recent one is Ryan Spann going up to heavyweight against Waldo Costa. Look what happened in the fight. He got absolutely schooled in the fight. I don't know how you get schooled by a dude with only a jab, especially when you're a light heavyweight. But it worked out for Waldo Costa. He outskilled the lighter man skill. So there is certain extent to it. But then again, you can make the argument Ryan Spann was just trash at light heavyweight as well. He just had a right hand. And he showed a fat in that fight as well. So just because you're old and want to retire and eat donuts doesn't mean, again, you're just going to do well. Same thing with Alexander Gustafsson when he went up to heavyweight against Verdum. Did not work out. He got subbed in the second round. So I guess the washed fighters can't really get a second prime when they go up either. But there has been good examples where it did work out. Like Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier was doing really well at one point. Like, he wasn't top level at featherweight, but like, he was a decently sized contender. He beat a guy that was supposed to fight Aldo at one point, and then he was top 5 for a bit. Loves to cost Swanson. He lost to freaking Conor McGregor. He lost to like really good guys, but he ended up going to lightweight because he couldn't make the weight cut no more, and he wanted to see if he could do better in another weight class. And he ended up doing well. Well, not the first meeting, because he did get chinned by Michael Johnson. But after he came back, grew out his hair, he looked like a monster out there. He went on a 6-fight win streak, beat Jim Miller, beat Eddie Alvarez, beat Justin Gaethje, and then Holloway. That is such a sick win streak he went on for a bit, man. I miss when Prime Dustin, man. Before he fought Habib, he was on a good little win streak, bro. Like, I missed that, but anyways, back to the point. If you saw him against Eddie Alvarez, that's one example I want to use. There was a huge, I don't know about skill difference, but there was a huge speed difference between them. Like, Eddie Alvarez looked slow against Dustin Poirier. And Poirier, before he had that hip surgery, looked amazing, bro. Like, he was throwing leg kicks, even though they were kind of weird. Especially when he would throw like a head kick, because they would kind of like turn really weird. They actually stay like in a straight line. I don't know, Poirier has been cooked for a while, but back then they used to be not as cooked as they are now. So he was able to throw leg kicks at one point and head kicks, and I love that. He looked so good in that fight, and he was cracking Alvarez with bad fast shots, like the speed difference, especially if you saw another example, Connor versus Eddie. Eddie had nothing for Connor. Connor kept going forward, didn't really have any fear of getting landed on, and another dude that came up from featherweight was Conor McGregor, and he was doing really well against Alvarez. Alvarez couldn't even touch freaking Conor McGregor, and that was probably Conor's best performance yet at lightweight. Like at featherweight, he was getting cracked in certain moments. Even in the Dustin 1 fight, like he was getting hit with big shots, and even Chad Mendes as well. But like at lightweight, the speed difference was very clear, and the skill difference was also like, you do kind of lose it though. That's also another thing nobody tells you about. Just because you're a lighter man, you do kind of lose the lighter man skill. Like back to Dustin Poirier, he started to lose the lighter man skill when we got more into more of a grappling heavy division with like, but then again, even when Dustin was up there, they were always been like a grappling heavy division, because there was RDA, it was Khabib, it was also Charles Oliveira, then Islam. Like he had to adapt, so he kind of lost his speed a bit, especially his sharpness and his striking. Like if you seen him against BSD and then you compare it to Eddie Alvarez 1, it's way different when it comes to his skill back then. It could also be because he got older, but he got more plotty. He wasn't really moving like he used to. He wasn't trying to mix it up on the feet really. He kind of became a one-dimensional striker boxing style. Like it was a sad thing to see Dustin from like 2021 and now, because he does not fight like he used to. Like I hate that, because he used to be so slick at one point, but now he kind of lost that. I think he regressed after the Charles fight, because you have to worry more about the grapplers, so you're trying to become champion again, so your grappling is gonna get better, but then your freaking striking is gonna regress a bit. That's why when Holloway went up, like he was able to school all these lightweights, but again, they were the old ones, but they were still like high level. They were fraud checking the freaking ones that were coming up, so even though they were the old ones, they were the best ones there. So Holloway, when it came to striking, he was able to school these guys back to back to back, and it was sad to see, because Dustin was not fighting the same like he used to. And also I might mention that Dustin was schooling Holloway when he first moved up, but then again, it wasn't Holloway with a full bulk. But hey man, he outskilled the lighter man skill. But I did think Holloway did get better over time, and when he went up again, he showed that. It was kind of sad, but we rocked him. I don't know what I'm talking about no more. I'm sorry, it was sad to see, but it was more of like a sparring match. Like at least Dustin kept it competitive, you know. Like when Holloway fought Gaethje, it was kind of a slaughter a bit. He got picked apart, couldn't really keep it competitive with Holloway. So I'm just saying, Porter's gonna take some brownie points off of that, at least in my hard pause. But yeah, lighter man skill was a real thing. However, though, I'm going to add one more thing before I end it. There is some downfall to it, though. There's not like, oh, there's just automatically, oh, you're just going to dominate the division. No, you're not. Because again, when Holloway moved up, he beat mostly strikers, but when he wanted to become champion and fight for the title and try to get a rematch with Ilya, he had to go against a grappler in Charles Oliveira. And the sad thing about that was he was too frail to stuff the takedowns, and he never really saw a grappling threat like that at featherweight, because again, Aldo killed them all off. Like Aldo, like he kind of saved featherweights when it came to the grapplers, because he just like finished them, and then they just got wiped out for the most part. And then Volkanovski as well. No, it was Holloway first, then it was Volkanovski, and then the division just became mainly a striking division, so they didn't really have the time to like have really good grappling other than Volkanovski. I guess he's just different between the pack of the featherweights. But yeah, so Holloway never really had the chance to like try to become a better grappler, because he didn't really have to fear it, but it did give him better hands. So there is downsides to it. It's not like you're automatically become the best fighter. However though, and speaking of the Oliveira fight, Oliveira is also a featherweight, so I'll just say it, like it's very 50-50. Featherweights are very weird because a lot of the times the lighter men going against the big guy, they used to be freaking featherweights. That's the funny thing. Like a good amount of them were featherweights at one point, or say like they're a middleweight. They were probably a welterweight at one point. DDP, like Hamza Chimaev, Sean Strickland, like there's a lot of guys that went up to the division and did really well. So, but there's also been a lot of guys that didn't do really well. Like Chase Hooper, like he was doing well at first, and then he was losing to Alexander Hernandez. So, I don't know. It works out and it doesn't. It's very 50-50 for me. So lighter man skill is a real thing, but it isn't as concrete as you guys think. I ended up like, when it went from me being like, yeah, lighter man skill is a real thing, but there's also a bunch of examples where it didn't work out. So it's kind of like a 50-50. I think it's just the top of the division. Like if you're top 5, you're probably going to succeed at an upper division, except for flyweights. I don't think flyweights, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. This is just a random one I'm just going to add. I don't think flyweights really do well when they go up. I feel like bantamweight and flyweight is a little bit too much of a jump. There is some exceptions to the rule, like Figueiredo, but like Figueiredo had power, he has skilled as well. So like there's not a lot of flyweights that have pop and a very dominant grappling game. Maybe Pantoja could do maybe decently, but I don't know. Can you not see like O'Malley training them, or like Umar out grappling them and out striking them? Like I don't know. It's just certain people I don't think could move up, and flyweights are, I don't know. For me, it'll take a lot to convince me that they would do well at bantamweight. Like you think Roy Val would do well, really? Like I think Sanhigi would school him. Batista would probably hold him down. Like I don't know. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That's all I want to say. Lighterman scale is a real thing, but it isn't as frequent as you guys think. So I think that's pretty much it. We're just going to leave it at that. And leave in the comment if you disagree, if you agree. Is there other examples where like is more concrete than it is? I really want to know the percentage rate on this, because I don't know. There is a bunch of examples where it went well, and there's also a bunch of examples where it didn't. So I want to know what's the more. Is there more of a lighterman skill thing, or there's more of where it didn't work out? There's probably going to be, I think it's about like 50 to 45 ratio. I think that's what it's going to be like. Like I generally believe that, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and yeah, talk to you guys later. God bless all of you, and that's it.